In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can brainwash yourself and come to a place where you can achieve all your wildest goals. As a matter of fact, something much better than that. How you can brainwash yourself and become that precise goal that you have in mind. Become that money that you have in mind. Become that precise reality that you have in mind. And this is something that you cannot afford to miss. All right? Dimitri here. Let's get right into it. First, I'm going to give you a dose of harsh reality. Someone may say to me, Dimitri, this is just the beginning. You can't do that because you're going to lose me. And I say, it's okay. Because at the end of the day, what I do is not for everyone. So if you're not one of the select few who are supposed to be hearing what I have to say, I'll simply say, yeah, you can excuse yourself. It's absolutely okay. But if you are one of these amazing people who are supposed to hear my message, here it is. You are the reason why your life is where it is. You are the reason why your boss somehow doesn't like you. You are the reason why your co-workers somehow don't relate to you. You are the reason why the community out there of customers are not buying from you. How do I know that? You may say, no, that's not true because my business is so different. As a matter of fact, it's very complicated, my business. And yeah, it's hard to make money. I will simply ask you one key question. Is there anybody in your business making money? Of course, I'm sure there are people making money. Number one. And if you say to me that, yes, as far as my unit is concerned, my boss doesn't like me and somehow I am the, I don't want to say black, but the white sheep of my organization, I simply say, yes, if that is to be true, here's the question. Is there anybody else out there that your boss likes more than you? The answer, I'm sure, is going to be yes. So let me just break it down. People out there don't buy product or services. They buy from people. They buy from people that they like. People don't just go and give everything to someone that doesn't really mean much to them. They give something, an assignment or favors to people that somehow they like. So your job is not just to focus on what you're selling as product or services, but to become that person that the people can relate to. To become that person that people can say, oh yes, I would like to do business with so and so. Because until you fix you, chances are you are still going to be where you are going to be, where you are right now. To prove it to you, very simple. You can drop the business you are in right now, go in a completely different business. Chances are you are still going to get the same result. Why? Because until you fix you, you are still going to be behaving in the same manner and always having the same result, and people will not want to do business with you. You may decide to resign from the organization where you're working right now and go somewhere else. Chances are you're going to go to a different organization and the boss is not going to like you. Your co-workers are not going to like you. Why? It's not so much because they are because they don't like people like you. It's simply because there is something about you that you have to address. You have to fix yourself. And once you start fixing yourself, what's going to happen is you are then going to become the kind of person that they want to do business with, the kind of person they want to work with, the kind of person they want to give the best assignment to, the kind of person they want to give the best project to. Why? Because they simply become someone with whom they are simply on the same wavelength. And that is simply how life works. People don't buy product, people buy product from people, and more specifically, people buy from people. People buy people. Until you can become that person, chances are you are still going to be the one person that nobody wants to do business with. That's simply a very good reality that you have to simply internalize. Number one. Number two, let me just do a quick recap. Yesterday I was telling you the story of my grandpa. It just came back to me out of nowhere. I told you how a few years ago, as I was in Africa, I used to spend every single summer at my grandpa's home to spend the time with him and my family. So I was quite familiar with his house. I was quite familiar with the garden in his house. I was quite familiar with everything around the property because I used to go there not only every summer, but every other weekend I was at their place. But one day something peculiar happened that just caused me to realize that you don't know what you don't know. Again, one day something peculiar happened that caused me to realize that, Dimitri, you don't know what you don't know. Let me just prove it to you. I was minding my own business in the family compound and just saw a woman standing by the wall. I noticed something in the garden that I piqued her interest. She was basically excited. She wanted to actually have a look at that thing, but of course she realized it was private property. So the right thing to do was to go to the gate. So she went to the gate and spoke to the guard and simply says, "Sir, could you please give me a chance to speak with the owner of this property?" The guard was of course shocked because this woman didn't look like family, number one. Number two, she didn't look like she belonged where we live. But he went and spoke to my grandpa. And my grandpa, being the gentleman that he was, he came close to the gate. Not close, but just he kept his distance. And he asked politely, "Yes, good afternoon, ma'am. I may be of assistance this afternoon." And she spoke to him. She says, "Sir, you don't know me. I don't know you. But I would like to ask for you to just hear me out. I was walking by your property, and by virtue of what I do for a living, I deal with anything to do with traditional medicine. So everything when it comes to rare plants and exotic plants that can have some medicinal values, I deal with that. And I was walking by your property, I saw a plant that is extremely difficult to find in this country. I don't even know how this plant happens to be in this property, but it is what it is. I saw the plant, and I'm simply going to ask if you can find it in your heart to just give me a chance to get a couple of leaves so I can go home and make something big happen with this plant." As she said that, my grandpa unconsciously emoted. He reacted in his body, and she realized that my grandpa knew what she was talking about, and she became even more excited. She says, "Sir, oh my goodness, I can see that you know something about this plant. So I'm going to simply kindly ask for you to consider giving me just a few of these leaves, just a couple of leaves." After a few minutes of back and forth, my grandpa simply says, "I'm going to be a gentleman. I'm going to grant you a desire." He asked one of the workers to go fetch a couple of leaves, package them nicely, and give them to her. And she was beyond elated. As she was leaving, then it hit me between the eyes. "Dimitri, duh! You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know." Let me just break it down. My father and my grandpa love plants. They love flowers. But they have different way of actually dealing with plants when it comes to young kids. At my house, where I was living with my father, we're not allowed to do crazy things around the flowers. But they were just flowers. They were just regular flowers. But you cannot just play soccer around the flowers. You couldn't jump over the flowers because they was that important. It was complete opposite at my grandpa's home. You could jump over the flowers, you could jump over the plants, you could play soccer from morning until night around the flowers, around the plant. He would never say anything. But in the midst of these flowers, a few plants of extreme importance were just basically growing. And I did not know that until that particular afternoon. And why is this important? Simply because I was saying yesterday, most of us right now are like that particular plant. We don't know our own value, like the young man that I was. We don't know the value of what you're carrying. You don't know that you don't know that it is absolutely beyond anything you can possibly imagine. You simply treat your life as if it was basically an ordinary life. I was treating this plant as if it was basically an ordinary plant, and that was completely not true until that particular afternoon. So you have to come back to a place where you start discovering, number one, knowledge, who you are. Number two, understanding the practical value of what it is that you are carrying. And that is absolutely key. That was basically the second point I had to make. The third point, and I'm going to stop. The third point is, it may sound like I'm about to go in a different direction, but I'm still on the same topic. Please bear with me. In 2008, in Brazil, in a place known as Morro do Providencia, one of the favelas or one of the ghettos in Rio de Janeiro, a group of young people went missing. They found themselves in the custody of the police officers. Next thing you know, the army got involved. And the last thing that people heard is that they were now in the hands of the gang that was basically against that particular territory. And before you know it, drama. These young men are executed and the bodies are retrieved. So the community is now in deep mourning, saying, how is it that these kids were in police custody and the army, and all of a sudden they found themselves in the hand of these gangsters? How did this happen? So they started protesting. They started going after all the authorities, asking for questions, but they were going nowhere. And somehow, luckily for them, a gentleman by the name of JR out of France heard about their situation and flew to Rio de Janeiro to see how he could actually be of assistance. And as he got there, he spoke with the mothers and the fathers, and they told him about what had happened. He said, I'm going to help. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something special for you. I'm going to grab my camera. I'm going to go around. I'll be taking pictures of mothers and fathers of this community. As I'm taking these pictures, I'm going to now print them and post them all over the place as far as your favela is concerned. I'll print them in black and white, but I'm going to put them in a strategic manner in a way that these pictures are going to speak loudly and you're no longer going to be ignored. Next thing you know, in the morning, all the authorities that were living basically in the lower part of Rio de Janeiro, because that part was basically in the hills, that's where all the poor and broke people were actually living. They woke up and they turned around, all they see all over the place, on the walls of these properties on the hill, they see eyes staring at them. They say, my goodness, what kind of demonic thing is happening here? Why are these eyes staring at us? Whose eyes are those? So everyone was basically in a state of panic. Investigation after investigation, they came to realize that these pictures were pictures of mothers and fathers of this community that had been taken by the artist by the name of JR. And it was simply a way to draw attention to the whatever situation they were dealing with. And because of that, all the authorities simply came down and said, we would like now to get together and find a way to go now up to see these people, to see how we can mend what has been broken and bring us back together the way we were supposed to. And that was a huge victory. And of course, all the police officer and the soldier that were actually found guilty were of course arrested and sent to jail. And that was a beautiful thing. But I'm not going to stop there. That was 2008, about 17 years ago, 2007. A year before that, he was in Israel and Palestine. What did he do? He said to himself, same thing. He's going to grab his camera and he's going to go to Palestine and take pictures of regular people doing their job. And I was going to move back to Israel and take pictures of people in the same position doing their job. So as he took pictures, he decided now to print them and he decided now to put them face to face and post them all over the place in a way that everyone could see them. And he called the project Face to Face because he wanted for everyone to look each other in the eye and come to a place where they can start discovering one another. Why it is particularly important? Because you have to come to a place where you can start rediscovering who you were meant to be. The person that you see on a daily basis, you cross paths with that person every time when you go to the shower, when you go to the washroom, you actually cross paths with that person, but you really don't take the time to really look this person in the eye. For the next 21 days, here's your assignment. Grab pen and paper, and every single day you say, I'm going to go into the washroom, I'm going to stand in front of the mirror and simply pay attention to the eyes of the person. This is going to be my face-to-face moment with myself to discover exactly who I am. Once you do that, you're now going to realize that far beyond anything that your family may have said to you as far as the family history is concerned, far beyond whatever the community may have said to you as far as the nation is concerned. So far beyond the crew, far beyond the macro, you're going to realize that yes, I am much bigger than the sum of all these things I'm carrying within my DNA. So as a matter of fact, you're going to come to realize that love is a big person and everyone has a particular role to play. And the question now is, what role are you going to find as far as you are concerned? And this role can be discovered when you realize exactly who you are meant to be. Knowledge. And number two, practical value. What it is that you're supposed to bring to the table. Those plants in my grandparents' home basically look like ordinary plants, but to someone who knew exactly what they meant, they meant the world because they had rare medicinal values. I was living in a huge country, and this woman said to us, in this country, it is absolutely close to impossible to find this plant. How exactly did you have access to this plant? So she was beyond shocked. And my grandpa was also beyond shocked that there was someone in the country who knew something about this plant. And it was basically the meeting of basically two people at the highest level communicating in a way that was completely strange to people who didn't know what they were talking about. That's your assignment as well. No more, you don't know what you don't know. Come to a place where you know now what you know and what you need to know as far as identity is concerned and as far as practical value is concerned. And what to do that, my friend, what's going to happen is slowly but surely going to come to a place where whatever goal you have in mind is going to become a reality. Let me tell you how. Brainwashing is not about going to someone who's going to hypnotize you and tell you X, Y, and Z about who you are and cause you to start believing in things that basically seem far-fetched. No, my friend. Once you discover who you are, what's going to happen is you are simply going to reverse engineer. Once you discover who you are, your identity is going to cause you now to have a particular behavior. And your behavior is simply going to draw whatever you're supposed to have as far as results are concerned. You will not actually be working for goals. You're simply going to become your goals. Why? Because what identity is aligned with your behavior, it's only a matter of time before whatever you're supposed to be shooting for becomes your reality. And before you know it, you are going to simply make history the way you so designed to do. All right, my friend, I'm going to leave right now. I love you so much. I believe that the best is possible, but not for the best manifesting. You have to become intentional. Come back to a place where you're going to study yourself, face-to-face project. Look at yourself and try to discover who you are meant to be. Number one. Number two, discover the practical value of what you're carrying. And once you do that, you're going to find your place within the group, within the nation, within the organization, within the community, and within everything as far as your industry is concerned. And before you know it, your behavior is going to start attracting everything that you put on your goals, on your goal sheet as the thing you were shooting for as far as this year is concerned. All right, much love. You are the best. You rock.